the news stories about drugs are negative.
This is one of yours that you made, huh?
From like college.
Yeah. It's got that same little thing. That's cool. What's up, everybody?
Live.
Yeah, I know. We're live. Dream Show live, actually, with Sir Isaac of Stackhouse.
What's up?
Putting down on the ones and twos here with the intro. We still don't have a song yet, man. Somebody make me a song.
Yeah.
Somebody put us on the beat or something.
Put a contest out there.
Let's go. I'll freestyle with you or whatever. Or you can write me a song and I'll rap it. Whatever. Let's do it. You do it. And I'll just do it with you. How about that? Dream Show Live. It's Wednesday.
10.
10.
Is 01.
It's 10:01. Did we start on?
We started on the dot.
On 1. All right. That's how we did it. Parkway Automotive Studios. Thank you for this beautiful studio. Glad to be in here today. It's a little bit cold. So we got our hoodies on and stuff. The camera Yeti is starting to make
the
his
Yeti
appearance.
hat. Got the camera Yeti hat out.
It got below 70 outside. My man said it's time to get heated. Gonna get the hat on. Musgrove Trial Firm. You already know what it is with them. 678-226-1994. Call your buddy anywhere in the state of Georgia. Accidents, injuries, whatever you need. Somebody just a little bit of advice, hit them up. They'll tell you what they can and can't do. So hit the Musgrove Trial Firm. That's what you need to do. Everybody should do that. So what's been up with you, man? We've been kind of hustling and decompressing a little bit, but still, you've been on the move in the last week from Costa Rica. We're still trying to nail down the rest of the life. How was that for you? Like re coming into the world.
We came back to a cold front for one. So coming back from the jungle to that was fun. But
okay.
No, I hit the ground running. I was back up in Decatur for the Southeastern team training they do every third Wednesday.
10th Planet team training.
The 10th Planet team training there.
That's cool.
Then I was back over here. We were running the show. We're getting
that
guys.
Was that morning.
That night. Yeah. That's every time I do that stretch, I regret it because I have to hit Birmingham and Atlanta.
Yeah,
it's just no nice way to go.
It's a haul.
Yeah. But there's quite a few people to train with though in the 10th Planet. I saw that conversation happen on Facebook today where somebody was like, "Man, I wish there was a 10th Planet in Birmingham." And it's like, well, actually, there are two guys there that are directly affiliated.
It's pretty close.
The name
ish,
but
yeah.
There's homies. There's lots of homies to train with in the South.
Right. There's good guys to train with for sure.
You're over here in Georgia, down 75.
Yeah.
Right off the shot here in Perry.
We're off a lot of the main interstates now. We're doing well.
The East Coast is getting a little bit of
got
a little rep over here.
The 3 here in Georgia, Decatur and Muscle Shoals in Alabama. Brian Brown's Jacksonville and Gabe Todd is in Miami. And now Ben Saunders just announced he's going to be in Orlando, opening up 10th Planet Orlando.
Bunch of them.
So that'd be cool. A lot of people have been like clamoring for an Orlando spot for a long time. So whoever was going to get into that was going to, that's like a big city. Obviously, there's a ton of potential in a place like Orlando. But
do you know how many 10th Planets there are?
100 and something worldwide now. We're adding, guys are going out and starting their moons, their schools every, all the time now. Yeah, over
100 worldwide.
Yeah, total in the world. Yeah, so there's a lot, and as I say, it is adding now. Kind of like I say, every day there's just +1 in Orlando. So I think, as far as 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu, it's definitely spreading, but there's a lot of people who are making the move towards more no-gi style grappling instead of the gi stuff. I think that's where most of the.
Why do you think the evolution's gone towards no-gi that heavy? I mean, you being a no-gi guy, I know that's going to come with a slant, but.
Well, no, I mean, honestly, I think that what's happened in a lot of ways was that they started making money. Like people started paying athletes in no-gi situations a lot more than they were in gi situations. Like there was a bunch of like EBI tournaments or EBI style tournaments after EBI started. And then there were cash prizes for people that were real like things they could go get, tangible like cash prizes. And then I think it just kind of became more popular through that stuff with like EVI and stuff coming on and getting really popular. A lot of guys or people in general started wanting to go towards it, because they think it's more fun or whatever it is. It's more pop culture is more into it, I guess, now too, in a lot of ways than wearing the gi and being in like uniform and stuff like that. There's a lot of like anti-establishment stuff, I guess, in a lot of ways for people. They don't want to be all uniform and stuff like that. There's still a huge segment of people that do. But I think there's a lot of people that just don't. And now that there's opportunity to not, they're just choosing not to.
Well, that's like my sister she wasn't interested in it. She had seen me do MMA and she had seen me do gi, but she'd never seen the like cross between it until she saw me train at a 10th Planet up there in Vegas. And she was like, oh, like you cannot wear the gi and not punch each other. And so like, I think it's just another flavor. Yeah.
And I think it fits a lot more with what Americans are used to in their sporting, stuff like wrestling or whatever is what they're used to in grappling.
I see even Kai Johnson is in here and said that there's even a few 10th planets, I think, pertaining to what we were talking about, 10th planets in the UK now.
Yeah, they've been there.
So
they have some big ones. London, there's a couple of.
It's just interesting that the no gi has been what's caught on.
For sure. Well, I mean, in some places now, there's some guys that do both. Still, there's a lot of places that do both. But I think that the money is mostly going towards the no gi competitions, like the who's number ones and stuff like that. They're all doing the no gi, and I think it's just because that's where the biggest like personalities were starting to kind of come up. The style's a little bit more exciting. It lends itself to more like attack based stuff than positional control and dominance. So I think it lends itself to more entertainment also.
Yeah, you don't get a lot of stalemates.
Right. It makes it a lot harder to just go through and just staple people down, in certain ways. So it makes it a more, dynamic kind of encounter. And so I think people are just more like used to that stuff with like MMA and such. Like most Americans would watch, like UFC and guys they're fighting in board shorts with no shirt on or whatever. So they want to see like a simulated versions maybe of that or whatever. And you've heard, about a lot of people complain about the wrestling uniforms or whatever. So I think given the board shorts and rash guard just kind of, like I said, makes it more similar to what maybe a lot of people would wear on a normal like basis if they could, that's just kind of similar to what they wear, like a t-shirt and shorts, but
gives them something to like hang it on because they have something to compare it to.
Well, it just, I guess, for to some degree, but I think that's the biggest thing is that it's not really just better or worse. I think it's an option now. And so people are doing it. And then they started making money for it. And so now people are crossing over because they want the money, they want the clout, of course, being an IBJJF champion, world champion in the gi and stuff, it carries a lot of weight. That's not anything it's not to shake a stick at. No, that's what I'm saying. Like it's a big deal to still do that or whatever, but it doesn't pay you anything like directly.
Yeah, you pay to do it.
You still have to go out and hope that sponsors pay you. You still have to go out and teach, and you still have to go out and train and do everything else right after that. But if you can go out and win that,
because in the old way, like on that thought, like in the old thought process of jiu-jitsu, like where does the guy how does he make a living as a jiu-jitsu athlete there? It's genuinely seminars teaching, or owning your own school, or
if you know how,
because that could just cost
skills.
you too.
They're different skills. Being a great athlete and competitor is not the same thing as being a great school owner and coach. And being a great coach and a great school owner, those are also two different skill sets. So if you're just only been world champion jiu-jitsu guy, but you don't have any like business acumen, or you don't have any like coaching, like bedside manner or whatever, then you're not going to be able to really make it off of that either. So there really wasn't a lot of opportunity for jujitsu people to make money,
to just be an athlete.
Yeah, and to just like pay their way through. Like you see in MMA still the same thing, right? People are having to work a job and then still train around working a job to be able to go out and be a quote professional athlete, and
even the top level guys are still teaching classes. Like they're teaching, like that's how they're paid.
You have to.
Yeah, they're doing something to make ends meet.
To supplement your income, and whatever. Like I guess there's guys that do that at lower levels in all sports, basketball, football, whatever they're doing, semi-pro stuff or whatever.
Sort of. Yeah.
There is.
There's more of a structure in some sports though.
Well, there is, but that's what I'm saying. Like at the highest level, you don't really see much of that.
Right.
But there are people that are, I guess, on the fringe that do that still of those major sports. But you do see a lot more of that in the martial arts sports entertainment field. There's not really a lot of money otherwise, but now EBI was paying people $10K. If you submitted your way through the tournament, you could win $10K, and that was like, whoa, man, that's a lot of money, for doing just jujitsu. I think that,
but that's to win a tournament, an entire.
You had to win. You have to win, and there's still that's still the big things. You still have to be to win to make money a lot of times. As far as a competitor, or have sponsors and stuff. So, but even having the opportunity though, I guess is the thing. And so now it's grown out to where there's a bunch of small tournaments, like we even hosted a tournament where people can make $1,000 for doing a couple matches on a Saturday here in Perry. So it's just more common, I think, in that way for no gi. And then, like I said, that who's number one, they paid tons of money to like the top 3 people. The third place person made $7,500 or something like that for that tournament.
Right.
So that's
when you go from paying out, a couple hundred to $1,000 to
potentially making $7,500 for third.
That's a pretty big step.
It's nice. That's a nice incentive to go out there and be a real athlete and not have to like live around your hobby passion or whatever it is. That which is what it was for a long time. Or you had to do MMA and hopefully make money doing MMA if you're
which
doing
has some of the same
before.
drawbacks. Yeah. You spend more than what you make sometimes.
Well, yeah. Back in the day, there was no reason to really do jiu-jitsu unless you're going to fight. Like nobody was really doing it unless they had intentions to maybe fight. So it was different then. So that's the jiu-jitsu was different then because it was all more control based and like making sure you didn't lose position and making sure you control, and smash the other person and not give up any attack. It was really like that self-defense almost based, which is not wrong to have that style, right? Because that could be universal for, if you can do that, then you can stay safe and you can win fights. But it didn't always lend to the most entertaining like TV. And so people wouldn't always tune in and pay to watch, a 30-minute match where the guys are like, it takes that long to cook them down, where you're constantly breaking their posture and like tugging on them, holding on over and under hooks, pulling on their head, just making them wear themselves down. That can be really boring. Even to people who like jiu-jitsu, like even to me, those 30-minute matches get boring because they're too tactical, right? But now shortening it makes it a different thing because it's not really the fight that you're into per se. It's more about being entertaining and getting the finish, in a shortened amount of time. You want to get the kill in 10 minutes. And then it's like, well, now we want to get the kill in like 8 minutes. And now we want to get the kill in 6 minutes. And
that changes it too. Like when anybody can hang on and ride.
It's way different. The more time you add, it changes the game, and it doesn't say that the same guys maybe wouldn't win. The same people wouldn't win the tournaments or whatever if there was no time versus when there was, a 6-minute time.
But it makes the game look different.
But it forces the action to be a lot more compact, I guess I would say, or however you say, less spread out. There's more, skirmishing, I guess, rather than like protracted battles for the smallest inch on a frame to get right over the top, to put more weight on top of them. So they have to keep holding, it's a different thing.
It's like cricket versus baseball.
Oh, maybe.
They both have a bat, they both have a ball, but it's an entirely different game.
Yes. Have you the rules to cricket?
Rudimentary. Like when I was in high school, I had a homie that like tried to teach us.
I think we talked about this before.
And I think we've talked about this on the show before, but like I've played and I've watched it played. I couldn't tell you what's going on in either scenario, but I know that it's different but the same as baseball. You want to hit the ball with the bat.
It's a stick and ball sport for sure.
But it's an entirely or maybe all right. This one that I have a little more nuance on. What about like rugby versus football? Like American football.
Add the forward pass. Changes the game.
Right.
Yeah. Same thing, I guess. Yeah, similar.
Right. Like it's like cool. We have the same goal, get the ball across the line, but how we do it.
Well, now like into the rules doing leg locks and different things like that for no gi versus gi back in the day competitions, if you want to say it that way too. It's still brand new almost for people to be able to do it in IBJJF competitions, and you still can't do it in the gi. I don't think you
can't do it. They give it to brown belts, but then after masters, they take it away again.
Once you get over 30,
over 30.
So once okay,
it's just weird.
Thanks, man. Keep all your toys. You made it legal after I was already 30. What am I supposed to do, man?
I don't go back. Go fight those 21-year-olds.
Here I come, guys.
Back into the adult division.
No, I'm all right, man. I'll be all right, I guess. It's real.
Keep your secrets.
The rules.
That was an internet joke.
Is it funny because you told him? Is that the only reason?
Yeah.
Stand alone. That one didn't make it.
So funny because.
Yeah.
Sorry. That was.
Yeah. But like the rules dictate the fight.
Right.
And so there was a style of jiu-jitsu that was rewarded for takedowns, control, like guard passing, getting to the dominant positions, which, is good. Like you want to be able to do all those things because that means you're dictating the fight and getting closer to finishing the fight, but anytime something is like a game with points or whatever and stuff like that, people are going to gamify it. They're going to try to figure out how to like score and not give up points or whatever, even if it's not fun or exciting or entertaining or whatever. It's like football, again, for an example, is like, you could run the ball and you can get, 3 yards every time. Then you just do that every time. You'll eventually get a touchdown every time, right? If you get 3 yards every time.
You just described my high school football playbook, but yeah.
3 yards in the touch.
Straight up the middle.
2 yards in the touchdown.
Straight up the middle.
Something like that. Yeah. 3 yards in a cloud of dust.
Yeah.
And that's it, right? And if you could do that every time.
Smash mouth.
It's a first down. Now, is that sexy or exciting? Is that going to get the people going? Only if you're maybe a fan of that team, probably only, but it's still going to be kind of boring. It's not going to be as exciting as that one pass that gets 30 or 40 yards. That's what's going to get the people going. They're going to jump up and like yell for that or whatever. So then people are like, oh, let's get 3 raw receivers out there.
That shotgun spread.
Oh, damn. Now I can see the whole field. You know what I mean? Let's fake the handoff and then throw it.
Then let's find us a quarterback that can run too.
And so now you have exactly. Now you had guys that can run and throw, and then you could do the option and pass and whatever. And it's like, what the, so the game evolved around what was.
Then
legal.
They said now you can't hit each other anymore.
And so now
it's not the same.
Now there's
game.
Different things. I don't even really watch it anymore.
So it's kind of boring these days to me.
It's just different now.
It's very different.
Everything's different to me. I don't really sit down and watch much sports that's not probably jiu-jitsu or some, MMA stuff. I don't really watch a lot of the stuff live. A lot of times I have to catch the replays or whatever because the UFC's so late. I'm old. So
man, we need to move the UFC to like 2:00 in the afternoon.
I know, like none of the people that are doing it that are paying for these UFCs have the energy to be up that late without taking a nap.
No.
Man. You know what I mean? Like they should give it for us. We're the ones that pay. I know I've aged out of the demographic a little bit, man, but only a couple years. I think they need to like adjust what they're looking for here.
Only a couple years, except for the fact that for research purposes, I've been watching a little bit of TikToks, and I saw this one that was like what your parents' radio sounded like in the 2000s, and I was like, wait, parents?
Yes.
Hold on, how old am I?
You are the parent. That's you now.
Ew.
Yes.
Oh no.
Yes. That is yes. That's how it goes now. And that's what I was saying earlier. Is like, I don't know, man. I'm old and like just get off my lawn, man. I just like to do it my way. You know what I mean? You could have fun over there and do your little TikTok dance, and you know what I'm saying? It's a vibe. Oh, I'm here for it. But I mean, whatever you're into, you know what I mean? It's just not. That's just not how we did it. And so it's just interesting and fun. But I don't know.
How interesting is it that like culture is now almost what would have been called like I would have been on the tail end of like what your culture would have been like growing
I'm an
up.
elder millennial, apparently.
Is that what you are?
I'm one of the first.
You're one of the
like we're on the like that like some people that are like mad about it. They're like, no, we're whatever the like Gen whatever
X,
right before that.
Gen
yeah.
X.
And then it's like millennials is next. And so it's like I'm 83.
Okay.
And so like now to most people, they're like, oh yeah, that's like an elder millennial. And like, I don't know, man. I think people like us, we are in a weird area of time because we didn't have the internet at first, for sure. We barely had computers really that were home accessible or at school really accessible.
Well, on top of that, you were in the country too.
Well, me too, but I'm just saying, like,
yeah.
But even in general, at you know, in the mid '80s, as you're first being born or whatever, they weren't existing in the home and stuff like that, and they barely were existing in like schools and workplaces, and you had to be like, you know, in a real school to have it, probably. And they had like a computer lab,
or like your parents like worked in a spot that
and
like
you
used
had
a computer,
a college,
so, like,
you know, or something like that. Or
so
whatever.
like you might remember, like I had friends that were probably close to your age that would talk about like their dad was like a teacher or something, so they would go to the computer room. And
right,
like,
exactly. You know what I mean? So like we didn't really have that kind of stuff, but then it did start coming around a lot, you know, and like then. Like cell phones, like we saw
What was your first cell phone?
The use. Oh, dude, I had the brick Nokia thing. I think was the first one that you could like spike on. They had the, you know, it was indestructible pretty much. It's probably still somewhere.
I had the Peanut.
Charge it up.
The like Peanut with the blue screen. I think it was Altel.
I don't remember.
But I know the square Nokias like you're talking about.
Just
like,
a little.
I think there's one still out there that's running on its first charge.
Man, I remember the bag phones in people's cars and stuff like that. Those, you know what I mean? Like, do you remember that?
Yeah.
You know,
my dad had the car phone.
They were rich.
Yeah.
Anybody that had those things, like, man, you got a car phone?
But my dad had the power company car.
Yeah,
like because
exactly.
they went from having the CB radio to having like a car phone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then you know that stuff all evolved into like now you could like text people.
Yeah.
When I was in high school, like people were like texting each other and stuff, and it's like, what?
I remember there was a girl that I was trying to like talk to when I was like 12, and I texted her, and she got mad because I'm pretty sure her parents got mad because it's like that was like $6 for me to be like, hey, what's up?
Yeah. No, and it really did like lend itself to people to have. I can look back now and see that it was a little bit helpful for the people that didn't have good like face-to-face interaction skills. They could rely on like texting people a lot and lead the conversation in a way. Because I remember conversations with people now. Looking back, it's like, that makes sense now why you could do that on the text and not
like texting and communication too is weird. Like you can mess up and have like a entirely different conversation that you didn't know you were having because
there's not much context. You know.
Yeah. Like so. I don't know about you, but I'm not Mark Twain when I'm out there writing my text messages. I don't know if that was a good example, but that was the first writer that popped in my head. But like I'm not a professional writer, so like maybe I didn't get my point across properly.
No, yeah, there's a lot of that goes on too, and I think I definitely went through like a really like, and I still would prefer a quick text over a phone call.
Yeah,
if it's something that could be quick.
Okay,
for sure. I would, you know what I mean? There's no reason to just like be on because then you'll just be like, well, is it okay to hang up? Do we need to talk about anything else? You know, or whatever. Like if you need something important, let's talk about that real quick. But
See, I'm a direct phone call. I'm like the opposite of like just pick up, say the 4 things you need, and be like, all right, bye, click.
I'll
You don't
forget.
even have to say bye. Just
I'll
hang
forget.
up.
I need the words. Like I need.
I get you
Yeah.
to where you can go back and read it.
And see that. Oh, that's like another weird thing. Like I don't know if everybody else is like this, but like we grew up on handwriting. Like everything was on handwriting.
I failed.
You know
that
what I mean?
class.
Now everything's typed, and I guess our kids are learning that do the handwriting, obviously. But like, I don't know. Most people now they're like, you're not gonna have all this access to these things when you get older. Like, you know, you're not gonna be able to have a calculator with you everywhere you go, right? Well, now there's a calculator and a camera and a device, you know, like a infinite information, basically minus what's monitored by the government device in my pocket.
Becca said that the pause is the buy. That's my sister. This is so like if she pauses or you pause long enough and nothing happens afterwards. Okay, I guess the conversation was over.
Yep. Nice. Yeah. See, I guess I'm weird at that stuff,
Yeah.
you know, like that's
I get it.
It's like, just tell me, what did you say? Okay, cool. I'm into it. Peace. You know, but like, I just doesn't go that way. Like a lot of times,
I get it. You can get caught on the phone with certain people.
I just think the way that my mind is set up, a lot of times I'll just get distracted.
Well, you and I communicate the same way of like the blurb text of like, I'll just send you the whole thing, like a long, that stresses people out in my life. I've had to modify how I text that.
It probably does to me too sometimes. I usually do
no punctuation.
I usually do mine 1 or 2 sentences at a time, so that way you can at least stop.
Oh no, I'll send you the whole.
Right. But that's what I've learned though, is like I could send a couple of them and they'll be like, wait, what are you talking about? It's like, oh yeah, good morning.
I've been thinking about this for the last 4.5 hours. Actually, I went to sleep thinking about this. You're catching up about 3.5 hours ago.
I've had plenty of time to get to this exact conclusion.
Lots of coffee, meditation, maybe a 3-hour drive in there.
All you need to know is the 5 words I sent you in the beginning. Just that's it. You don't need to know anything else about the process.
I forget about punctuation. I'm sure you've noticed that.
I don't read it punctuation wise. I don't think. See, that's the thing. Like learning.
Okay, you read it like how I would have.
I read like spoken word. If I know you,
okay.
I do. I read it like in your voice if I can, because that's how most people
you do that.
Yeah,
I read it in people's voices too.
Oh yeah,
like I hear your voice when I read it.
Yeah.
Like if you have an accent or if you're like from another country or something, I hear
that's
your
the only way it
accent.
Works.
Yeah.
Okay. Otherwise, it's just words.
I'm just glad I'm not the only one.
No, that's definitely how my brain works. Like I see a picture of you in my head, and it's like stuff like that.
I got you.
So. Yeah,
Jiu-Jitsu.
That's how it works, man.
Yeah,
it's 3 weeks at least.
How's your reacclimation back to coach real world, back from Costa Rica, looping all the way back to the beginning?
We're back in here for another week now, man. So it's been smoothing out again. You know, we got a competition coming up Saturday. Several people are going to go out here in Perry. It's called the Good Fight Tournament, submission only. Right here at home, basically. So we're going to go out and take a few people to compete. So trying to like find out who that is and what we're going to, what we're going to do with that, help give a little direction to some of the classes for me. So that's been nice still. But still also like being back and trying to like get the kids settled back into school and the routine of like all the different stuff. It's been, pretty normal. It's the same old same. It's not very hard to do the routine as long as it stays pretty routine. But then when things like get knocked out of whack, that's when it gets kind of crazy. So it's been cool. It took, like I said, it took most of last week to kind of like settle in and like get through. Like that's what I even like called you that one time. I was like, just want to kind of like say a bunch of stuff. You don't even really have to like respond to anything directly, but just like feel like I just want to like just say all these things really quick, and then I'll be done with those thoughts for the week, and
go ahead and leave it in Costa Rica type.
Just kind of had to like, because it took me. I guess that's kind of what we were saying, is like you wanted to sit down some while we were there and maybe get some of my thoughts in the moment or whatever. And it was like that would have been it was kind of hard, but
it would have still been jumbled.
But I was still trying to process it out myself about how exactly I felt about some of the stuff, because it was overall, like I said, gangbusters, knocked it out of the park. But then there were certain things about it that I definitely wish I could have done better overall, And so it was like, well, how do I put those where they go? But then also understand that we did do a really great job. You know, like
I don't think you would be creating a good product if you weren't thinking that way. Like if you weren't thinking, oh, if you were walking away from anything that you did for the first time, you're like, yeah, I did that perfectly.
Yeah,
like,
right, exactly.
Like,
well, I
don't know. Yeah,
I knew that there was going to be some stuff that we were going to learn on the spot, and that's kind of what we were talking about. It's like you don't know what you don't know, and now that we know what we know, we can avoid a lot of things that could be potential troubles, and then anything that we don't know that could be a trouble, and now we'll have to address that going forward. And I think that's the right way. As they come up, address each thing as quickly as you can, and make it, you know, whatever it has to be, instead of letting things grow to 7 or 8 or 12 things that are an issue now, and all of a sudden it's just like there's no coming back from that, you know, where there's just like catastrophes everywhere. So, you know, working all that kind of stuff out, thinking about the process we wanted to have going into 2022. Like there's a lot of potential opportunities for more camps, and, you know, more people going down, and what, you know, what does that mean logistically, and do we want to deal with another 10 people, and do we want to, you know, how would we want to handle this situation, and do we want to deal with everybody staying in one place, or do we want to do it where we're going to, you know, let everybody kind of be spread out and meet at one common ground? You know, there's just a lot of like options to I like to flesh them all the way out. You know what I mean? I try to, and some people don't like this, and it's hard for them to do it with me. But I like to work out a lot of ideas almost all the way to the end, not maybe in practice, but like mentally, like to talk it to, you know, all the way to the end. And even if it starts out like it may not be a great idea, sometimes just like, let's just entertain this thought process for a little while. Cause like sometimes you'll probably see it. You'll be talking to me about something, and I'm like, can I have a little bit more information about that before I, you know, go ahead and tell me something, and then I can make a decision that's like, okay, that's actually, yeah, that's okay. But sometimes if you immediately shut down an idea that somebody has, or a process, or an idea, then you don't know for sure like what they're trying to relate. And I guess that kind of says to what you were saying about the text message stuff. So if you don't let somebody like get out the fullness of their thought, then you may miss what they're actually trying to tell you, instead of just being like, no, I know, because you may not know. And so I like to try to like listen to these ideas and then walk away from that conversation without resolution on that idea, even, you know what I mean? And give myself a few days to think about that and what we talked about, and then what could happen if, you know, this. And so I don't know. Let's say a lot of people don't like that idea. They want to have some finality pretty quick, and I get flustered in that situation, because I don't want to make a quick decision, because I feel like that's when I make a mistake a lot of times, when I just rush into something without at least thinking it through. You know, I guess that's planning to a degree, but in the heat of the moment, like, just don't just do something for the sake of being in motion. Sometimes the right thing to do is to just like pause, let it develop, and then you'll see what the answer actually is, right? Instead of like trying to force it to go the specific way that you want it to go. You know what I mean?
It's almost like the jiu-jitsu conversation we were having this morning of like, make them make the choice to move, and don't move for them. Because sometimes if you move early, you move in the wrong way, and you move in the wrong place, and you get moved, swept,
right? Exactly,
etc.
Yeah, you put yourself in a bad position because you just want to get ahead of something that may not really even be a problem. If you'll just stop for a second and see what, you know what I mean? Just see what happens. And then you'll know if it's a problem. You know, it's like, oh shit, this is a problem. Next time, you know, I will address said problem or whatever thing from that, instead of just being like, yeah, we'll just do it. We're just gonna do it like this because this is what I want to do, and this is making me busy, or you know what I mean? Like, people want to be busy doing things. Like, that's not always good, right? You don't always need to be like doing something, because sometimes that messes up another end of the road process, kind of like using that for jujitsu or whatever. Like sometimes I want to pass your guard, but there's that one moment where if I move just slightly, the whole thing is just gone. But if I can like stop and stabilize and wait for like I said, you to
wait for them to make the mistake.
Just wait to see what's going to happen next, and then it just becomes clear. Oh, that's so much easier than trying to just like stay in there and hammer this person or whatever with the ideas. So yeah, it was about a week, I guess, of like really hardcore, thinking about what I wanted to do and what I did not want to do with the camp next year, who I did want and did not want to have there, or what, stuff like that. Not that there was anybody that I wanted to ban or whatever, but just like who I did want there, I guess is the right thing to kind of say there, and where and how. Logistically, what does that look like? Is this profitable? Does it do does it check all the boxes?
Did it run the right vibe?
Yeah,
Did it have
exactly.
the whole thing? Yeah.
And that is the biggest thing for me, right? Anything that I touch needs to have that vibe, whatever that is that people keep tuning into somehow. Like that y'all talk about in the room, or people when they come and visit or whatever, how it is when we're there. Like it's got to be authentic. It can't be somebody else's thing.
Well, if it's processed or canned, I mean, it's one of those things that's like, people try to claim that the jiu-jitsu is like the D-bag filter, and that like it, and I don't believe that. Like you can be a jerk and have a black belt, but what I do think it is that it exposes it. And I think that if you create a fake vibe like that, or a fake room, I don't think you can't fake it. And so people will sniff it out, and then they're not a fan. And that's what, like, when it ever feels that way,
right? And
I don't even know what I mean by feels that way.
No, I know what you mean. Exactly. It's just a feeling that you get, and it turns you off.
I don't like
it. Turns you off. It just turns you off, and
it could be any rhyme or thing that creates that.
And sometimes it's like, okay, well, that's fair, but what you're saying is not something that I'm going to be able to change, or whatever you didn't like about the vibe or the way that things were handled. And sometimes it's like, sorry,
you can control the part that is you.
Exactly. And the things that represent me, and the things that are, I'm responsible for, I can control that. And if you don't, like I said, and if some people don't like some of that stuff, that is on them. But if there's processes that go awry, that's not somebody else's fault. That's my fault. Like we talked about that, like as the top of the food chain in this scenario, as El Jefe, as one person called me. It goes to me, right? No matter what the problem was, it was like the dream no-gi camp did or had XYZ. And then that's like, oh, that's Stephen Eakin because he's the dream, all that stuff. So it needs to represent what I believe in and what I want to be, and what I truly think, and not just be because hey, let's do 5 next year just because we can just
because we can, and we can stack people up. This is a money making gig. I guess that's the feel. If you get there and it's like, oh, this is just kind of a gimmick for somebody to like get a freebie,
just to line their
and
pockets
just hang out and get their pocket. Yeah, like when it smells like that, it's like, oh, you're not doing this for the culture.
I want to provide real value to the people that come there. And I really want to make sure that I'm doing my best in those ways
for the culture.
And if they don't enjoy themselves for other reasons, that's outside of my control. You know what I mean?
And not only that, to touch on something that I think we talked about last night at some point, but like it's been in the discussion of the community itself, of like just teaming up with Lorenzo and like the surf guys and the kids, and like, I mean, Lorenzo's got a little army of little killers down there. So
yeah,
I mean,
5 or 10 years from now, imagine what's up. He's only like 24 himself.
Yeah,
he's just a kid.
He's a young guy.
That's what I mean. And so stuff like that, man, like building out all those things with that right intention, even if we don't understand how it's gonna go yet.
The intent
has to be pure. It always needs to be pure. And when I feel it going opposite of that, that really starts upsetting me, and like that's when I have like inner turmoil, when I feel like things are becoming less than what I believe is true in some ways, you know. And that's a struggle I've had with like promoting of myself, and of when I was fighting and stuff like that too. You know, we talked about that, not wanting to do a bunch of these kinds of things for a long time because I didn't want to
The
be seen
poser or
as the guy
that
that
yeah.
thought he knew everything, or oh, you think you're smarter than me, or your opinion is different than mine. So now I'm a bad person because somebody disagrees with my opinion.
And we're talking about a game.
Yeah, and we're just, you know, and so that's the thing. Just growing out of all that, and just being comfortable saying this is just what I think, man. And if you think like that, then cool, we'll vibe on that level. But otherwise, then we just won't deal with each other, you know, and that's okay. It's fine. Like if we can't get along on certain specific things that are very important to one of us, then there's no reason for us to really interact. But we don't have to hate each other either. But we just don't have to mess with each other. And that could be business, that could be jujitsu, that could be, you know, the guy at the gas station or whatever. If he has a bad attitude with me, I'm not gonna come back to a store. You know what I mean? Like I just spend my money elsewhere. Uh, and so that's the thing. I want to have that kind of like as much of that authenticity in everything that I'm trying to do. You know, I want to always carry that into my interactions, and accept that, you know, despite sometimes, and we've talked about this before too, but even despite my good intentions, sometimes that's a mistake. Like sometimes I'm trying to do something I think is the right thing, but it's not. It ends up not being the right thing for this, and so that's my bad. I have to accept that. I have to accept. I have to listen, and you could tell me, hey, you messed this up. And it's like, no, man, but I did my best. You know, I was trying to say, yeah, but you can do your best and it still be wrong.
And still miss the mark. Yeah. You can do your best and still lose.
Like, and that's, I guess, what I was saying about Costa Rica was like, I did do my best, but there was definitely some things that I realized we could have did better, but I didn't. I had to think about how to not let that ruin the whole idea, because the whole idea is great. The whole thing is going to be good. We just got to like twist the knob one way a little more.
And the details are important.
Yeah.
It's like
that's
surfing.
The thing.
You mess up one little thing in the beginning of a surf, you're on your head.
Now. That's what I'm saying. Is like now we have details. Before we did, it's like when you go out there and you get the move from your coach the first time. It's like, yeah, I've seen this move, but then you go out there and try it on somebody, and you're missing all the details.
Not until the 100th time you see it, and you're like,
then it's autopilot. You know what I mean? Then you can just walk in and everything's already done. You know, there's already like, you know, there's a bunch of stuff that we're gonna have set up and brought with us this time that's going to cut down on a ton of administrative troubles, we could say, on the camp stuff, because it was just a matter of communication, and I didn't have a great way to communicate with everybody. And so now we're going to go ahead and handle that stuff, and everybody's going to be there in or out, and it's going to be easy to say in or out, and we're not going to be trying to wait until the last second. And now there's a couple extra people trying to get on the bus because we didn't realize.
Trying to tag along.
Yeah, exactly. And it was, you know, and it's cool. 2 more people wanted to come. That's great. But we just needed to have that count before the shuttles arrived.
Anytime that you're doing anything in a group or in a large, like anything,
it's hard.
Like trying to logistics when you cross like 12 people, it gets rough.
And so we started getting close to 40 on a couple of those things. And that's what I was saying. Like
40 people is a lot of people to move around a foreign country.
Yeah. Well, exactly. And I thought that some of that stuff was going to be a little bit better managed by the tour companies. Some of that I thought was going to be more like streamlined on that end. But then I realized, oh no, that was actually they wanted me to be responsible for all of that. Yeah. Like collecting everybody's money, making sure exactly it. They wanted me to bring them a package like of money, basically.
Like if you go on like these like youth group tours and stuff like that, where there's anything where they tour these youth around, there's always that one person that usually the kids all hate that. Like it's usually
there's always somebody
that's got to be like, everybody give me all your money, everybody give me all that, pick up your trash, do all that. Like like
no, and it's like, oh, man, I hate them. It's like, but they're so necessary.
It's so important to have that person. Yeah.
So yeah, it sucks, and so we're just gonna kind of move around that process now. We've already kind of got some of that figured out, and we've got it for sale to the people who came last year at a discounted rate already, so they can go ahead and reserve their spots, and we'll go ahead and have X number of people we know that want to come back from last year already.
That way, you know your spots, you know how much space you have,
Listen,
who can,
There was, I think, 40 people that were like on the roster that kind of came last time. We're only going to go up to maybe 45 to 50, but I'm saying 45.
Yeah,
You know,
I would say 50 is probably your max. Even if you're
That's-
talking, people will have to watch the show to see. We had a ton of mat space, but like,
and we even have more mats to
Yeah.
put down, but just
Yeah.
to manage that situation,
that
is a
amount
lot.
of people, that amount of movement.
And so
like,
then that is what makes me go down the road of a couple of cams, do it, maybe a 25er and a 25er instead of like 50. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have a problem being there 2 weeks or 3 weeks if there's people that want to come and train at that, numbers, and the kids are okay and Mandy's okay and life's okay. Sure, I'm down with that. You know what I mean? And I think it will make it better to give it to 25 people at a time. Personally, I would enjoy it that way probably better than if I was the customer, 220 as a 25er instead of 50 people, because you can get more of the one-on-one attention, and it's easier, to have that kind of stuff.
I think that there's
So-
definitely a space for that type of stuff eventually growing into it. Like, I see a lot of different type of abilities that you would be able to have to offer, that type of stuff. Because like people are getting into that kind of thing because they're like, oh, that's cool. Like, go down there, hang out, surf,
Yeah.
do jujitsu.
It's
like,
easy, man. It's easy to do. It's not that expensive now that we've done most of the work on that end of it to go to where we are. There's other places you could go and they have the setup for
Well,
you.
you could go roll on the beach too, like whatever. But like this is coming down because all right, we got mats, we got high level people that are wanting to come hang out.
That's what I'm saying.
You had a room full of really cool people in there too. So.
Yeah, there was white to black belts for in the room, but there was enough of each to make it fun
Good
for
balance.
everybody. It wasn't just like there was one white
You
belt
weren't just
and everybody
getting
else was
wrecked.
like brown and black belts and stuff. So like, even as a purple belt, you found
Oh, I got both
up and
both
down,
ends.
right? You
Yeah,
got-
I
you
got
got
I got to
both.
go. Yeah.
So, it was it was really great, and I'm excited to do it again, as many times as we possibly can. But it has to stay legit. If I'm doing it, it has to stay legit the way I want it.
What have you brought home? What was the biggest thing that you brought home from that for you? Like, I know there was the camp and the techniques and all that, but like, what was your take home?
Man, that the future is really bright down there, in the sense that we talked about with Lorenzo and stuff. Like, it was a good move to push for this because it's now, even subconsciously had motivated him to keep pushing harder for his little school, and he's grown that little program into now, like you said, there was at least 7 or 8 different kids that came up.
There was a whole corner of the mat that was kids, like
Yeah.
interacting with the people that were at the
And
camp.
for me, that's the kind of thing long term that's going to be the stuff that's going to make it
Doing it for the
stick.
kids.
Yeah, and my kids to take Thomas and Charlie down there, and maybe, like we talked about a little bit before the show, learn to experience life from a different perspective and be bilingual by like immersion in some ways, and have those experiences to where it's not completely foreign, for lack of a better word, to have friends
To just go
from
hang out in
other
another country.
places.
Yeah.
and not be nefarious about anything. It's all good intentions and well-meaning and stuff like that. So like, that to me has been the coolest part about all of it. The training was great. Obviously, being able to have the people back is great. Obviously, learning some good jiu-jitsu stuff was great, obviously. But knowing that we did that is what really made me the most proud, because we left them with enough mats to cover their space, to have, mats to use. I really don't even know what that would have equaled in dollars for what we paid for them. I didn't even really, and not to sound like I'm flexing or whatever, I didn't even look, because that was what I told Lorenzo we were going to do the first time we talked about it. Like, man, if we can pull this off, and
You'll get the mats.
it's going to take your help to do it. I'm going to give you enough mats to make sure that you guys have mats to train on. And I don't think he believed me, because even when we were leaving, I was like, yeah, man, I want you to get some of those mats and take them or whatever. And he's like, yeah, I'll keep them. And then you guys can have them whenever you come back. I was like, no, I want you to get them and take them. And if we need to borrow them from you, then I'll ask you, can we borrow them from you? Because I want you to have them.
But those are
and take
your mats.
ownership of this, number of those mats that you need for your space or whatever. Because that's what I said I wanted to do the first time. And now, the first time I said that, I had no clue of what it looked like or what it would be like or how much time and money and heartache and whatever we would put into it to get to that point. But like I said, I knew that I said that. And even when he didn't expect it, I could have easily just like taken that away or what, you know what I mean? But I was like, no, I'm going to do that part because that makes me true to what I say and who I am. And the part of it that is the most important, was that is the spreading of the love and the jiu-jitsu, what it's done for me, right? Even if it's not my hand that's on it, even if it's not me that's in front of that camera or whatever, or if it's not me that's starring in this moment, somebody else is going to get an opportunity to shine
through the jiu-jitsu,
through
and that's kind of this whole vibe,
yes,
the whole culture,
it's it's that proverb
push
about
everybody forward.
The man doesn't plant the tree for the shade for himself. It's for his son. So like I'm trying to plant these trees for the next generation so they can have the shade that maybe I wasn't able to experience until in adulthood. So there's a lot that I really want to keep going from it. And that part of it's hard to express and hard to pull off without being more down there and making it more regular. So that's part of it, is it does need to be somewhat more commercialized because you got to make money for them to have a space and to have enough mats and to have a training room and to have coaches that are good enough and all that kind of stuff. So that does take money. So it needs to generate at least enough to kind of pay for itself for it to grow on a certain level. So if we can do enough of these, like one at a time or whatever, or two a year or whatever,
to build that momentum,
to start funneling money towards a more permanent jiu-jitsu space for those people, kids and adults in the area to have that there. I would love to be able to help like facilitate that in some manner. Even again, like I said, if it's not the Stephen Eakin Jiu-Jitsu School or 10th Planet, man, even if it's not any of that, you know what I mean? I would love to see it grow up and
just
be successful.
For the culture.
Yeah, the dude, 100%, man. Yeah. And then if I ever get to go back down there and stuff or whatever, I would love to get to go train because that's how it started.
It at the very least, I mean, like I saw my sister made the comment of having friends in other places makes life awesome. Is that like that's we grew up that way. I got friends in all kinds of countries and different places, and like even if you don't have a financial stake or anything in
it
still gives you a homie to hit up and be like, hey, I'm
familiar.
I'm coming through.
Exactly. It's not just all foreign. You know what I mean? And Kirby makes the joke about he's just like, I just don't want him to call me gringo anymore. It's like, yeah, man, hey, that's respectable, right? That means you're doing enough.
I just want to be a local enough to where they're like, oh, that's Kirby.
He's one of us, he's one of the people, he's helping us out. We're doing things like we didn't want it. That's what it was. It's like we want to be not just seen as people who are coming down here and throwing trash.
Come hang out in a beautiful place.
We want to help, do stuff. We want to, help people out also through our experiences or whatever. Because I definitely didn't know anyone that didn't live within our like hometown bubble, basically, not even hardly in other counties, like over very much until I was older, and got away. So like, that's what I mean. Like for my kids to have the experiences, to be able to go to a San Diego and maybe be familiar with people and have somewhere that they could feel
there's different perspectives out there that they can
Costa Rica and here and wherever else we may find people that they may roam, to and see what life is, because it's not just one corner, it's not just one town, it's not one city, state, whatever it is. There's a bunch of different things to see and do, and the way some people live is just different than the way you live, and it's not always better or worse or whatever.
Right or wrong,
it's just different. It's just different. And seeing that things can be different, that I think that's where you get the opportunity to be more creative, because you could think about possibilities. But if you're never in a position to see any possibilities other than what you are, like it's hard to dream of anything, you know. So I think that that's part of it, you know, letting Thomas at this point is old enough at 7 to start really thinking about and remembering this stuff. And Charlie's starting, she's 4, she's just about to turn 5. She's starting to get to that point soon where she'll start really having a lot of these memories, and like it's going to start forming, you know, the personality and stuff like that, you know. And so for them, it won't be unusual to go out of the country or to, like you said, to have friends or to speak Spanish to people when they speak Spanish. You don't have to be like weird about that. You know what I mean? They don't have to learn English for you to speak to them. It's cool it's cool, man. Yeah, you can learn Spanish to go speak to Spanish speakers. I think that's a nice thing to do, rather than, no, man, they need to learn what we know.
I wish I paid more attention when I was trying to, like, people were trying to teach me when I was younger.
It just wasn't explained that way to me, I guess, that made it make sense in a real way that it was going to be a useful skill.
I didn't understand how to learn until probably like when I was an adult. Like I figured out how.
Well, I guess
to learn
that's a lot of it too. Is that
adult.
I was just smart, and so I should just been able to do things. But then at a certain point, being smart just kind of runs out, and you need a way to like get new information and skills and stuff.
How to break it down.
I can't just figure this out, you know. Like this is beyond where I'm at now, and yeah, and I think that happens to a lot of like gifted or whatever kind of kids too. So yeah, I don't want to like leave that stunning perspective if I can for my kids or even for those other kids. Like I said, those kids, their parents were like videoing and taking pictures, you know. They're like, that was the highlight of their week for sure. You know, I don't know how much.
Oh, the kid that choked me like 2 or 3 times each night was like,
they were hyped, bro. They loved it.
Like,
yeah, know? Exactly. So yeah, so that for me was the biggest part of it. Was that we did what we said we were going to do, and it wasn't it wasn't about making the money, because we didn't, but we still did what we said we were going to do, even taking the loss or even not going. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, it's like everything that you're doing is that like it's all for the culture behind you. It's all for the kids. It's all for the paying it forward type deal.
It's kind of like, I guess, to use another reference that we talked about in Costa Rica, it's like when we were surfing, it's like you gotta let that wave build behind you before you just jump up and try to ride it in or whatever, or you're gonna mess it all up, you know. And so we're just really want to build that like groundswell, that wave behind us, and then it'll keep the momentum going as long as we need, you know, to ride on, as long as we're helping everybody else. You know, that's the way I see it. Now, is it always going to work out to where I'll get everything I want? No. You know, there's still going to be times that I'll be left out and whatever will happen and stuff, but that's cool. That's life. That'll give me an opportunity to go work on a new mindset or grow in a new way or change something that's getting stagnant or whatever, and things like that, you know. And I think, again, this is allowing me to flex some of those other like mental capacities that I didn't even know were possible even now that we've done this logistically. Not that I'm a logistics guy, but we got mats there. So now what can I do with mats in country that we own? A lot.
How can you help the local community?
There's a lot we can do. You know what I mean? Yeah. Can we put on tournaments? Yeah, we can put on tournaments with the amount of mats that we had, actually, if we wanted to, and give some experience to people or whatever. How much money would that cost us? Almost nothing now. Just our time while we're down. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's what we got is time. And you know what I mean? So like, there's just a lot, and we can move to another city for a week or whatever and try to see what it looks like at the volcanoes or whatever.
Yeah.
And like maybe
Lorenzo's got homies other places that train.
See whatever. Yeah, exactly. Just build this whole thing up
and grow in the community.
Yeah, and just make it great, you know. And like it's happening over here in Georgia now already in a lot of ways. But that was my main, not main, I guess, but one of my main things when I first started training was like I wanted to go out and bring it back to the small town that I was from or whatever, and help people grow and do better and get to have it, you know.
Because there's huge gaps here in the Southeast that have been here that if like now, like there's big deserts of no training anywhere. Like I have a minimum of 45 minutes for a good training session.
Yeah.
And that's one way. So like a minimum of 2 hours in the car to train.
It's rural, so that's the biggest problem. So if each of the cities has something, then it's not going to be that far. It could still be 30 to 45 minutes if you want to go.
I
to
think
a
30 to
specific
45 minutes is
space.
about like as good as it'll get.
Yeah. So, but now there's more black belts in other places. And then, now there's guys that have opportunities that, maybe they wouldn't have had that opportunity if it wasn't for me going out and trying to, chase this thing down. And then they're like, oh yeah, we'll do that too, and now they have an opportunity to go out and have a career in a business with jiu-jitsu and stuff like that they wouldn't have been able to do before, and sure, I could and sometimes want to be like, yeah, that's all because of me or whatever, but I don't really have enough time to dwell on that and stay positive in myself about what we need to do next and things like that. So I'm happy for everybody that's getting these opportunities. It's one of the things that comes up in promotion times for jiu-jitsu stuff a lot, and I think it's something that you learn in that process. If you're in a situation where people keep it real on ranks and stuff like that, like you'll see people pass you sometimes.
Yeah,
like you were ahead of this person, and now they're passing you, and that's not how it works, but it should be sometimes. Like time served is not always the right thing, and some people get the next belt for a bunch of different reasons. Some people, whatever. But if you're being kept real to, you understand that you got to clap for other people if you want to also get the wins. You know what I mean? You got to clap when somebody beats you. You got to clap when somebody gets something you want, and you really wanted it. You thought that you may even deserved it.
Well, and the color's not necessarily the pecking order.
But that's how a lot of people see it, though.
Right.
That's what I'm saying, though. You have to learn that lesson, though,
yeah.
Right. And that's the big thing in business too, right? The quote color of somebody's, business is not always the way that it's actually ran on the inside. If you're in there day to day or whatever, like if you're with them every day, it may be shitty. It may suck and you don't want to be there with them. But everybody else on the outside is like, this place is amazing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Or the guy that's actually the face or lead may not be the most qualified guy, but he's the one in charge.
Right. Exactly.
And so you may need to back him so that everybody else backs the idea. And then maybe the VP or the person number 3, number 4 is the one that's pushing all the ideas, but he's not
getting the shine yet.
Right.
And that's why you see people splinters a lot of times or whatever. And that's why I want to, always try to be able to clap for everybody, even other people that I think I'm better than or thought I was better than, getting opportunities. Like that's frustrating, seeing people get things that I wanted or things I thought that I could do better or would have done better, seeing them get that opportunity and do good or bad with it. Is like, but then can't dwell on that stuff, man. If
I crossed that bridge when I realized that they may do it. They may do it better. They may do it worse. But the difference is they're not going to do it like me. And so it doesn't really matter one way or the other, because either I'm going to do it or I'm not going to do it. But for me to care whether or not they're doing it and how they're doing it is only eating up space that I don't have to eat up.
Right. Yeah. And that's the thing, is like you just, again, kind of just wanting to be chosen. And I think a lot of people just want to be chosen more than they want
for the validation.
Right. Exactly. More than they want to actually have a specific skill set. They just want you to tell them they're good enough in whatever field it is. That could be relationships, that could be your work, that could be jiu-jitsu skills, that could be, like you with your, your like
film work,
editing and stuff like that. It could be good, better, best. You know what I mean? But a lot of people don't want the real truth about stuff. They want you to like just pat them on the back and tell them that it's good enough. And definitely sometimes I'm that way for sure. I sometimes I do want just affirmation that it's all working, but then at the end of the day, it's got to still be intrinsic. You gotta. I
was gonna say, where do you look for that then?
Yeah, it's got to still be inside of you, and that's what I mean. Like that, and that's that purity thing, I guess, and not in like a religious kind of way or whatever, but like in a Stephen Eakin's values way. does this line up with what I actually believe in? And the more times I have to say no or can't answer it directly with yes, then it's not something that I want to be a part of. Sometimes I've had to be a part of it before I realized, you know what I mean? Like I've done things and it's like, oh man, that does not reflect my character.
That wasn't on brand.
But I can't take it back. So now that thing exists, or whatever, but it's a mistake and it's part of, the history of who I am now. And now I know for sure that I won't do that again because I know what it feels like to have done that. And that is definitely out of my character. So I'm going to do everything I possibly can to defeat that part of me that exists that goes against what I want my character to be.
How do you, this may be like off subject and side conversation, but like how, when you go to correct that and then there's another person involved, like, do you just correct that and you're like, I hope when you come back you see that, like, oof, yeah, that was a bad call on mine, but does that make sense?
I like in real time, if I know,
You address directly.
Yeah, if I can, right?
Yeah.
I try to I guess the right word is hold space for them for a second while they get to express whatever it is, and the way people feel is not necessarily wrong, right? They feel the way they feel. And I don't always get to dictate that. And that's hard, right? Because that's what I'm saying. Sometimes people feel a certain way. And I need to think about that. I need to reflect on that. And then after reflection, I can decide whether it's actually something that was my character that led to this thing, or was it something that maybe it was something else that was going into that, and I got the brunt end of it from
maybe my intentions were there, or they.
And definitely that one, like we talked about earlier. Like there's definitely been times where I thought what I wanted and was giving someone was the best for this person, but it wasn't lining up with exactly what they were wanting, and it kind of made it flub. And so it definitely. And that's kind of, I say, like working on communicating. And sometimes the best part of communication is listening to what somebody else tells you, not just not I hear you, right? Not I hear you. That's not what people want. They don't want to necessarily be heard. They want to be understood, and they want what they are expressing to you as this feeling to be understood. And now that's where as if it's me,
right,
you tell me I made you feel this way, man. Okay, is it something that I like? Wow, that was bad that I did that.
Do I need to fix it right now? Yeah,
my bad,
or
dude.
can we?
Wow, I can't. Oh, I didn't even realize I did that. Maybe that was a huge mistake. Now that you pointed that out, I'm not laughing at you because I think it's funny. I'm laughing because I'm anxious. So like, that was a mistake. I'm sorry. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or sometimes it's like, damn, I hate that you feel that way. I don't know what I can do about it in this time frame, except for to say that, if it's me, I'm sorry. And I'll try to think about what that means outside of this and how I can fix that in the future. But in this case, if it's my fault, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But there's nothing I could do beyond this. So I hate it. And I really do. And that's true. And so I want to listen to what they say was the thing. And then that's when I could examine what led up to that and the interactions that I had or the process that I laid out that led this person to telling me the way that they feel. And sometimes it's like, man, that's on you. That's on you to feel that way. And like, maybe you do need to feel that way a little bit because you're not understanding what's going on. So then that would give me a chance to be more clear about what I've been trying to say also. Or like I said, it's good to try to be honest with yourself and say, I could have done that better, because then you can do it better next time. And you don't have to like have that same mistake again. And that's like in jiu-jitsu, the same thing, right? I can go out here and you could tap me out with something and I can get pissed and like slap the mat and run off and then avoid you
and never go back.
Or I can be like, man, dang it, you got me, dude. Can you tell me what you just did right there? Because that was crazy or something. You know what I mean? Like give you the credit.
Build resolve.
You deserve it. Hey, that was crazy. Can you show me what that was? And you'll be like, oh yeah, man, this is my thing.
I've been hitting this on everybody.
I've been doing it a lot, and now I know that.
Yeah.
Instead of having to go back and like run into the wall again and hope that it's better, or act like that wall doesn't exist, and then I go hide from whatever that experience
act like it doesn't
is.
exist. Take a shots at the leg locker, anti-leg locker.
Or just anything. Like
No, I
people
know.
do that. Like you put your fingers in your ears and you la la la,
Yeah.
la. You know, it's like that doesn't make it go away. Like you just kicking the can down the road. It's going to be there again, right? The lesson's going to repeat itself until it's learned, and that's everything. The lesson's going to repeat itself until it's learned, and so be aware. Handle those situations as much as you can, like on the spot. And it's hard. I still don't always do it the right way. I still mess that part of it up because I take things personal, right? Because I care. I care a lot. That's why I take things personal. I don't take it personal in a way that like I'm going to be mad at you for having.
But you'll have inner turmoil over something.
Myself, yes. If I make a mistake, I don't like it. Like I'm a bit of a perfectionist in some ways, right? I'm a slob in other ways. But in the things that matter to me, they matter a lot. If it doesn't matter to me, then it's like, I'm sorry, man. Like, that's just not going to be like, that's just not a big deal to me, man. I'm sorry. Like those things just, you know, and like I said, if that's like a non-starter for you that I have to feel a certain way,
Maybe
or
you're not the guy.
we're not going to hang out, man. There's a bunch of people that you could probably vibe with or whatever, that'll be cool for you. It's just not going to be me. Cause I can't, I don't even know how to conversate.
But you don't even want to like, because that goes into a different thing of like changing yourself or changing your vibe or changing your like your persona to pertain to somebody. But then you find yourself changing for everyone.
Right. And then you don't know
who you are.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. You try to be a chameleon in a lot of ways or whatever. And then that lends to.
You see guys like that in business and in like where they try to be everybody's friend. And
right.
then they're lost on their own.
Right. Exactly. It doesn't work that way. Not everybody wants to be your friend. They're not going to try to. So you try to extend whatever that is to them. They don't want it. Then you got to be aware of that and just accept that for what it is too. It's not, I mean, whatever, maybe it is a snub in the moment to you, but whatever, that doesn't reflect on you as a person. The way that they acted towards you doesn't automatically mean, one, you're not good enough for whatever the given thing was that was like the conversation or like training or whatever. Like if just, you know, somebody's like, no, I don't want to roll with you, or I don't want to train with you or whatever. It doesn't automatically make you the bad person. Like, even though you may feel bad about it, and then it may not automatically make them a bad person either. Like they can have
the timing,
a multitude of reasons to say no, physical, mental, whatever kind of thing that they have going on. They don't want to do that with you, you know? So it's just hard to.
And if you feel that it reflects negatively on you, then maybe you do need to reflect on, well, why does that make me feel that way?
That's the thing, right? Like, that's the hardest thing, I think, for people.
Am I the spazzy guy?
Why do I feel this way? Why am I upset about this situation? Why does this make me so mad? Why did what you say make me so upset? Why am I reacting such a strong way to this? There's something that is making that happen. And the more times I can realize that in myself, the more times I can stop it from being such a like intensive.
It goes from thing. I am upset to, oh, this is why I'm upset.
This is that thing again.
You can do something about it.
This is that thing again. That's my bad. Like yeah, cool, man. Yeah, you could do that thing, whatever. Get beat up, fine. That's why I would get mad about stuff. Used to, when I would get really like anal about like techniques and stuff and training or whatever, because we were fighting. You're gonna get beat up. You're gonna get hurt really, really bad, and that was gonna hurt my feelings. I was gonna be really sad because you were gonna be really sad, and so I needed to make you understand, you know. And now it's like, okay, it's just mostly jiu-jitsu stuff or whatever, so it's not that bad, right?
And even then, at some point, somebody's got to learn their lesson somehow,
and they will.
If they're not gonna listen in that scenario, then maybe it is that time for them to learn that lesson that's been repeated to them.
No,
and you can't be the one that throws yourself in front of them.
Some people have to touch the stove, man.
Yeah.
So like they just have to touch it themselves.
Three types of people. You can show them, you can tell them, and then they got to touch it.
Yeah, they just got to know. And they got to do it themselves and see.
I got to touch it.
Yeah.
I'm one of those.
There's people that are like that, you know.
One of those.
And it's interesting to see those people too that are different ways, you know. Some people just like, yeah, I'll just do what you're saying. and they'll just
and knowing which one you are is important too, like yourself.
Yes, exactly. You got to know that you are this way, and that's what I'm saying. Like knowing who you are, is the most important part of all of it. Okay, knowing what you like operate on, like what are you operating on every day? What makes you tick every single day when you're dealing with stuff? Why do these certain emotions pop up in certain situations? If you know what they are, you can help navigate them more often. That doesn't mean it's going to go away, but the awareness means you can do things to combat the heaviness of it or the amount of it that you have to kind of deal with all at once. Just don't kick it down the road further as much as you can, because then now you got to unpack more shit next time you're trying to like.
It just gets worse.
Yeah, it's just more. It's just more. And so that's what I say. It's like that's the jujitsu stuff that I want everybody to be able to get in life. That's like, to me, that's what we're doing, is helping people figure out like that part of it. And me telling you this, and people could be watching this conversation, but that message is lost on you until it's time for you to have it. Like learning those lessons, learning how to learn, learning how to fail and keep coming back, right? Learning how to get a creative answer to a problem that nobody around you has a solution for. You know what I mean? But you're going to figure out a solution to it. You're just not going to accept that it's that way, because there's got to be a way, because there's always another way. It's never final until it is, you know? And so like, what's the problem? What's the solution? What's the problem? What's the solution? Like over and over and over, repeating that pattern is great, as having that in your life. Anything that comes up, what's the problem? What's the easiest solution? Let's go with that. And then the more you can do that, the less like people are like killing each other in the streets, and people are like being mean to each other in conversation and trying to flex on each other in ways that isn't, you know, even worth. Why? You know what I mean? Why would you even want to flex this way on people or whatever? You know what I mean? Like, it gives people the way to understand their self and to have like a type of self-respect in a way that you can carry over. And I'm not saying that I have all this stuff down perfectly. That's what I'm telling you. Like, these are the things that I'm still striving for every day, is to be able to like live those values and those character traits in as many of the interactions that I have every single day. And then the days I don't do a good job of that one time, sometimes that knocks me off course for the rest of the day. Like one bad interaction that I know I led the wrong way. It definitely could send me down the wrong path for the rest of a whole day if I don't have some kind of whatever it is to bring me back a lot of times.
What's your recenter there? Like, what is your, like, when you have that bad interaction or that thing, and you know, because like you're saying, you're at the point in your journey here that you know how that you're headed down that path. Do you know how to pull yourself off, or is it just tomorrow's a reset?
Sometimes, like I say, I don't always think I don't think I always have it. I don't think I always do. But I have to kind of just, I think my coping mechanism has been like isolation, I guess, in some ways, not like fully, but I need to get away to like think about it to myself, you know, and put my own spin on it, I guess I would say, not like in a negative way, but just to process out what just happened. Because again, the only reason I'm getting upset is because I really care about something. And I think that now there must be something that's missed, you know, and then I don't want to argue if I've made the mistake. You know what I mean? If I realize that it's my fault, I typically try not to argue about it. So unless I'm just getting hammered about something that I've already tried to accept blame for or whatever, you know what I mean? So I try to like get away and have time to just sit and think by myself, to put the demons to rest, so to say, and that'll give me a chance to go back and apologize if I think it was even if it's like,
maybe it's just you taking the responsibility,
or just saying like, I don't think I was wrong, but I definitely did not start that conversation the way that it should have started, because now you missed everything that I wanted you to hear, because I led with the wrong intention with my voice, my tone. The words I said were anger based instead of understanding based and information based or whatever. And sometimes it takes my reflection to understand, oh, I did go in there and I did snap first, didn't I?
Yeah.
Damn it. I snapped about something, and then that made it a fight instead of me going in there and expressing
a discussion.
The thing that you did was this. And that's how, it should kind of, like I said, like if you can explain the way you feel about it and have a good logical basis for it, I can still disagree with that, but understand that this makes you feel that way, and just understand, maybe we can avoid this thing if we know that from now on.
Well, that ties in well here of what Robert Beasley, that's your boy Christian, said, Christian. I'm now at a point where I'm over stubborn self-sabotage, and I need to acknowledge real healing processes. I had to learn that the hard way, and that you're the best coach and role model. True empathy is rare. Your favorite student with a little bit of,
that's my guy.
A little bit of shout out.
Young Christian.
But I think that like what you're talking about is you're practicing empathy. And I think that's kind of what you're trying to push.
Yeah. And not without having to say that, right? Because now everybody's an empath and I'm an empath.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever.
Not in the
no, but that's what I'm saying. But for real though.
Yeah.
But like for real like, but that's what I'm saying is you the way you present it is how people are going to
understanding where someone's coming from in their position.
You can say it however you want to say it. You can call it any name you want to call it, but it is what it is when you do it in practice. You can like languages just sounds from your mouth or whatever kind of stuff. But when we're there, kind of like we're saying with those kids down there rolling or whatever, when they were down there going for those arm bars and those chokes or whatever, they were doing it at their level, but they were doing it. Yeah. Like they didn't need you to English that for them. They were going like they were gonna.
Yeah, I was trying to take one of the little girls. I was like, all right, like now you do this and then she was just like boop boop boop, and then like I put my arm in the wrong spot, so she automatically like transitioned to my back and was doing a rear naked choke. I was like, all right, you know what you're doing, never mind.
Right, exactly. Right, but that doesn't take a verbal language. Right. It definitely helps if you can.
But we were speaking the language of jiu-jitsu to each other.
Yeah, you were having a conversation in a way that you guys could understand.
And boom, it's full circle. Look at that. We're good at this.
We're getting better, bro. We're getting better. So yeah, that's where I'm going, man. I don't know how it's gonna end up. I don't know where it's gonna end up. We're definitely trying to push that vibe in everything that I do. And dude, again, I know I fall short on a lot of the stuff that I'm trying to do, but I think that's the point in striving, or not the point, but that's part of striving, is that you are trying to improve. And by nature, you're not gonna get to it everywhere you want to go the first time. You gotta keep going forward little by little. And definitely the man that I was when I first left Bainbridge in 2008 to go training, and the man that I am now is so far removed from each other that it's hard to even like believe it's the same person in a lot of ways. You know what I mean? I can't even imagine the way life would be had I not been able to chase this path the way that I did. And not been able to, as in like blessed to do it as much as like I just did it. Just did it. And like there was no way except for to do it. You know what I mean? And sometimes, like I said, I had to touch it to get the experience, because there was no other way for me to do it. I didn't grow up in it. It wasn't just there for me to see it. Nobody else showed it to me. There wasn't like a book to read about how to do the thing. You know what I mean? So everybody would tell me what it was, and I had to go out there and make this thing. I had to go build this thing that didn't even exist.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And people don't understand that. And that's one of the things I've said several times. People will never, ever understand the sacrifices of yourself that you make to become who you are. The pieces of you that you let die because of good or bad, you know what I mean? Whatever reason
you had to give up.
Yep. The things that you do to get to who you become. If there's
no free rides,
you pay now or pay later. Somehow, some way, things are going to catch up to you.
It'll cost you something.
It was a good thing I saw about my good friend PJ Barch. He made a good post on his Instagram the other day. about like anything that rises, fast or whatever is going to have a spot where there's going to be a lull or whatever things are going to balance. It's going to find balance. Everything's going to find balance, And so he found this really quick path to high level competition and did really well, really well, really well. And then, he's had a few setbacks as far as an injury. And then now he's finding himself just kind of slugging it out with the rest of the best of the world black belts and is getting, mixed results sometimes because
some of the younger guys have caught up with him and
right, exactly. There's
like,
just things that are happening and it's like, well, damn.
It's a fast
like,
world out
now,
there.
And it's just balancing things out. And so he could quit now as it's finding balance, or you could be the one that understands that this is the way that things work. And after this swing this way, there's going to be another swing back the other way. And so trying to understand and manage the rhythm of life in that way and understanding sometimes you're in a valley, man, and there's nothing you can do in that valley sometimes except for get through it. You just got to keep going forward through that valley. And soon you're going to get to the point where you're going to have to climb your way back up. But now the opportunity is going to present itself for you slowly to start climbing back up. You just got to exist down there in the valley sometimes though. And that sucks, but that's the path to anything. Nobody does anything without that. Nobody. Think about your parents. Think about everybody unless they're a liar, they struggle. Still. It may look good. They may have all the money and everything else, but there's still something. There's still something that they're not getting exactly.
No matter when you get to the top, there's still another.
There's always something. There's always something.
Yeah.
There's always something. And you can fix one thing and there's another thing.
Why do you think the wealthiest man in the world is trying to send rockets to Mars?
That's what I'm saying.
They've won. They won the game. Why are they still doing it? Because there's still something.
There's something, right? You want to do more. And there's that thing, I guess, right? For me too, with jujitsu. And that's what I talk about with some people. It's always like evolving and changing. And that's why I keep coming back, I think, because it's like, it's been sort of infinite. There's been never a time where it's like, well,
I figured it out.
It's over now. You know what I mean?
At the top.
So, I don't know. But anyways, we're going to go ahead and wrap this thing up. Thank you guys for listening to me ramble and rant for a little while there. I guess we'll snap out of it and go back to the real world here. Man, thanks to Isaac, obviously, for coming over, putting this stuff together for us here at Parkway Automotive Studios. Couldn't do it without you, obviously, dude. Stay tuned to his stuff. We're going to come out with the Dream Show Season 2. We got like the first 10 minutes or so of content out right here, and we're trying to see where this thing's going to go.
It flows off like butter once it starts, I promise.
I don't understand any of that stuff. So that's what I'm saying. It's like I just see it when it comes out like y'all do. I let my man do his process, and he's got some parameters that he knows we like to do. He knows what we're trying to do as far as the culture and the brand and the all that stuff, the character that we're working in. So I trust them to put out things that are going to be nice. Thank you to Musgrove Trial Firm, obviously 678-226-1994. And call your buddy, dude. And also, like, legit, we want to go ahead and start figuring out the things for next year's camp. We're going to definitely be looking for potential water sponsors, people who will provide refreshment for the camp peoples. We had a good time with Fox and Hound Fuel, giving us some electrolytes and stuff because it's super hot and sweaty down there. So anybody that would like to partner up with us, the sooner the better. You can get a full year at least of like us talking about all your stuff to help with the hydration for everybody at the camp, because we're definitely down in the jungle. It's humid, it's hot, we're training.
Drinking lots and lots of plastic water bottles.
Lots of plastic water bottles were going and getting mixed up and things like that. The caps were getting like thrown and rolled away and different things, like just creating a bunch of mess down there in a situation where it's actually not what we want to do. The vibe at Hotel Costa Verde is like a green space and different things.
We want to be bringing some thirst quenchers.
We're trying to, we want to do our part to keep everything going that way. So if there's anybody out there that has some stuff like that, if you have a connection with anything like that, go ahead and reach out to us. Like, for real, please, we'll do our best to go ahead and give you as much production, publication, whatever it is, throughout the whole year leading up to the camp and through the camp, because it's such a crucial part of what we want to do. So thanks to anybody that would send out a little pigeon or whatever on that thing for somebody. Otherwise, man, yeah, we love you guys. Thank you for tuning in. If you guys ever have any questions for me about anything, you can find me on social media, obviously at the Dream Tempe on Instagram, Stephen Eakin on Facebook. Obviously, if you're on here, like I have a YouTube channel, Stephen Eakin. We put up some jiu-jitsu content, some little shorts of stuff that we do, some of the Costa Rica things, and little random musings that I'll clip up from this show. And
your Kajabi's where the seminars are going to start ending up too.
I see it, so. And I'm just bad at selling stuff, right? And I have a online academy. Is that what you would say?
Yeah, that's what we call it. An archive.
Dream Nogi.
mykajabi.com.
Yeah. The Dream Nogi.mykajabi.
It's scrolling underneath you.
Just threw me out for a second. I was like, oh yeah, that thing. There'll be some of the seminars from the camps on there. That's going to be a way to funnel some monies to Isaac. And then if you buy the Lindsay or the Kyle one, that'll funnel the other half of that towards them and stuff like that. So go on there soon, subscribe, and you'll be getting emails about any of that kind of stuff. Otherwise, man, thank you guys again. Love you guys so much. It's just fun to come in here and do it.
Dream and the imagination of yourself. Realize that all matter is merely energy condensed to a slower vibration. That we are all one consciousness experiencing itself subjectively all the new stories. Realize that all matter is merely energy condensed. Realize that all matter is merely energy condensed to a slower vibration. That we are all one consciousness experiencing itself. Subject matter is merely energy condensed. No such thing as death. Life is only a dream, and you're the imagination of yourself. Here's